Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I hope you had a nice weekend and happy full moon today, September 24th, 2018. I haven't been here for a couple of days, taking in some of the energies, integrating myself, and I had some family stuff to do. But I'm going to go over, I have a lot to cover over the weekend and then today's read. So I'm just going to show you the read from today. Even though I'm going to cover some other information, I'm really just going to cover some of the downloads that I've been getting. Okay, and then that's the read for the Divine Feminine today, which as always has lots of information about both energies, the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine energies. It is September 24th today, which is the Queen of Wands. There's also two nights came up in the read today, which comes up to the 26th, the 27th, which I had just gotten last week, the 7 days that ended up the 26th or 27th. So it was interesting, they both ended up on the same day, 26th to the 27th. So there's something important about that, and that would be I guess Wednesday to Thursday. But the 24 is it's 6, so it's of love, family, and community, but it's the 4 of stability and structure on the inside, with the feminine energy on the outside, okay? Being very accommodating and seeing both sides of the situation, being a good peacemaker, that kind of person. But being very structured inside. So the person kind of restricts themselves from the inside, but comes off very nurturing. But really it's all, for someone who's 24, it's all about stability on the inside, okay? So really root chakra oriented. So that's the Queen of Wands. And then we have the day adding up to 44-8, which is the 4 of Cups. So it's that energy of, you know, feeling sorry for yourself, not getting exactly what you want, even though you have a lot of love in your life, there's something else that you want that you're not being offered. It's also about grounding and integrating, though, and about boredom. And the purpose for boredom being grounding and integration time, you know, to take in what you've learned and have it become part of you, and then be able to go out and use it once you get inspired to go forward. So we have the Queen of Cups and the 4 of Cups and the Queen of Wands together today. Not the most ideal energy, you know, because it's basically the Queen of Wands who's usually inspired and, you know, is a fire sign. So very inspired to go forth, but 4 of Cups is not in their usual energy. It's more apathetic and still, hopefully grounding, could be sitting in a tree or hiking or something like that, but more so just kind of feeling sorry for themselves and bored. I was just getting to, like, expecting someone to wait on them, so that could be specific to someone. Then I'm just going to start back at the end of Friday over the weekend. First of all, on the 21st, which was Friday, I felt like my masculine was drinking that day because I was loopy and out of it all day, really sleepy. And then some of the energies I was getting from the cards Friday evening was like a put up or shut up attitude from the Divine Masculine, and also drinking, could be out partying, you know, happy hour type stuff. But it was earlier. I was definitely starting to feel this at least by 5 p.m. Really loopy, I couldn't focus on anything. So let me know if any of you were experiencing the same sort of thing. But I was also getting, there's a lot of conflict energy over the weekend, obviously with the moon rising. And this put up and shut up attitude from the Divine Masculine, no longer wanting to do what everyone else wants him to do, wanting to do his own thing, and finally maybe sticking up for himself. But definitely getting the drinking thing coming up. Then I was getting, on the night of the Friday night, I watched Overboard, the new one. I'd seen the old version of Overboard a long time ago with Goldie Hawn, but the new one was switching the characters. So it was the man who was the rich, spoiled brat who has this transformation into what real love is, which is a beautiful message for the twins. So, and Spirit's connecting with me. you know, the rich person learning what it really means to feel love, and how much better that is than having all the things in the world, right? So I was also getting energy, and Spirit's still connecting with me about that. I was also getting energy about a Leo keeps coming up, and that a Leo's goal is to confuse the Divine Feminine at the full moon. So here we are in the full moon, and again the Queen of Wands is here today, and the Queen of Wands comes up in the read as well. So, and it wasn't just today. So a lot of Queen of Wands energy, which is, for me, in my reads anyway, is typical to the karmic energy. And I'm very familiar with the Queen of Wands because my mother's soul number is 24, which is the Queen of Wands. So I'm very familiar with who that is. Yeah. And again, a lot of cups have been coming up for the Divine Masculine, more so than the Feminine. So it's switching. Like at the beginning of the journey, it's about the Divine Feminine having cups all the time because she's always in her heart and emotions, and not having a lot of Wands and Pentacles. And then now switching roles where the Divine Masculine's accelerating with the cups, and, you know, they're switching positions. And also the importance of physical movement has been coming up as a theme all week for the Divine Feminine especially. And I've been having some really good meditation sessions this week as well, with these intense energies coming in. On the 22nd, I had a baby shower to go to, and it was a very nice occasion, and I actually went to visit my mother at the Alzheimer's facility afterward. And I end up doing cards for the aides a lot of times. They really enjoy that, and it's, for me, you know, it's more of a coaching session as opposed to, you know, predicting future and that kind of thing. But I've done it with so many of them there, and it's so rewarding because they really get so much out of it. And they learn a lot as well. So it's always enjoyable for me. But I want to stress to the Divine Feminines to remember to always protect yourself and clear yourself before and after doing these sessions. Because after going out to a party, you forget how much energy you're picking up from all the people around you, as well as going to another place, an Alzheimer's facility, where there's a lot of kind of crazy energy there, you know, from all the Alzheimer's patients. So just remember to clear yourself afterwards. But like I said, it was a very positive experience. I actually did cards at the baby shower too for the person who's sitting across from me, and we ended up having a great conversation because it brings up things in people that they wouldn't normally bring up with someone they don't know. So it's a really nice way to kind of to bridge people. And I was around baby energy too. It was interesting in the different perspectives of the babies. I was around two small children, my niece's two kids who were just beautiful. And the little girl, totally comfortable with me, and the little boy who was just going through that stage anyway, like he's just being difficult with everyone. But like I was sitting next to him, and he did not want me to help him at all. Like he threw his book down on the floor, and if I picked it up for him, he would get mad at me. So, but it was partly because he was just going through that with everyone. But whereas the little girl was kind of looking at me, kind of wondering about my energy, and kind of had that, you know, eye-to-eye knowing thing going on. So that was interesting too, just to see the different energies of the children and how they're coming in with their new DNA. So, so on the 22nd, like I said, it was very positive energy. 77s were coming up, as well as 2s. Wonder Woman came up. As well as I kept getting these messages of be aware of the negative spirits, you know, be ready to clear yourself, especially if you're going out into karmic situations. That you're now very good at being aware of negative spirits around people, whether it's part of them or not, and it could be coming from them and not even be of them. So just to stay conscious and present whenever you're in these situations, you know, as soon as you go back to your old ways and just pretend like nothing ever happened as far as this journey, that's when you leave yourself susceptible to taking on negative energy. And again, music's been coming up all weekend as well as really important, especially for the Divine Feminine, to raise your vibration. Music, 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 and I'll bring it up when it comes up, but also dolphin energy. So dolphin sounds and music, the meditation music, is really relaxing. So that's something that's good as well. I haven't been able to sleep the past 3 nights. It's been a real struggle just to stay asleep a full night, and I've been going to sleep too late, but I still end up waking up really early. Today was better because I was able to actually fall back to sleep when I woke up this morning, but yeah, it's been a struggle, and I'm usually a really good sleeper, so it's been tough the past few days. Which then, you know, leads to being more vulnerable and more apt to go through a purge. So, let's see here. Then still on the 22nd on Saturday, something that came out that was really important in my code that day, which I'm not going to go through the whole read, but I want to bring up the information that came up from these reads. The Three of Pentacles came up, and all the different definitions of the Three of Pentacles was so important, because remember, the Three of Pentacles is about coming together with others. It's about all three contributing, whether one is more educated or one is more experienced, or it doesn't matter, because in order for the project to be a success, each of the three have to respect the other's point of view and their opinion, and Spirit's connecting with me. Okay? So the idea of the Three of Pentacles was coming up as very important, and it's all about work, but it's combining work and love as well. Because when you really have a good connection with the others you're working with, you're all on the same page, in other words, then the project has a better chance of success. Okay? So on the 22nd, I was getting, it was all about the Hangman for the Divine Feminine. And I was getting hung jury, and jury is out. And this was under the Divine Feminine. And also so important that, excuse me, that 2 of nothing is still nothing. It's 0. No one is on board if not all are on board, which goes in line with this Three of Pentacles thing, okay? Also, the Spanish word ven came up, which also has to do with digital currency. In Spanish, though, ven is come or perceiving with the eyes, or understanding. You know, you're truly seeing. So this is all about the perception of money and how we use it, and coming together with others to make money. How do we do this? And we were being reassured that our guides are supporting us fully in this. 3 out of 3 are supporting us, but again, 2 of nothing is still 0. So if you don't get everyone on board, it's not going to work. It's still going to be 0. Let's see. So it's so important to value all the opinions. And that comes up with the twin flames in the twin flame community as well. You know, some people, everyone has different abilities, but that doesn't mean one's abilities are more important than the other. So it's important to show each other respect, even though you feel that their abilities aren't at the same level as yours. They may have something else to contribute that you're not aware of. Okay. So also so important, what comes up with the Three of Pentacles is not to allow illusions or disillusionment to take away from your enthusiasm and your excitement. You know, it's about not allowing other energies to knock you down, and if you do go into a purge, to just get right back up and keep going, never give up. Okay, it's persistence. Don't let the fear of failure take you down or make you give up. You may need a partner or knowledge or experience of others to help you with the work that you're doing. So just remember, it's all about teamwork and collaboration. Where everyone has different abilities and experience and opinions. But it's important to get structure into that too, as well as, you know, creating some kind of plan and following some kind of schedule, okay? And so, as you know, in the twin flame community, our schedules tend to be very flexible depending on how we're feeling, because we always go by our intuition and our feelings, but to have some kind of loose plan in place to help, you know, kickstart you forward. Encouragement, persistence, determination, effort, all of these things are important, as well as feedback. And the energy, this was on the 22nd for the Divine Feminine, was all about the money. It was 5 Pentacles that day for her. Also, the 10 of Pentacles was coming up for the Divine Feminine, because when we get too comfortable, right, when we have everything we need, you become more conservative and guarded. You want to protect what you have so that you don't lose it. But you also then become bored and apathetic. Spirit's connecting with me. Okay? So it's about, is playing it safe the best for your highest good? Okay? For your overall well-being. Okay? So don't, you know, just sit on your laurels, but actually go forward and enjoy your life. Also, something that came up was the 7 crystal system, which has to do with the cubic system and isometrics. So for you math minds or other scientific minds, that's something that came up about classifying crystals. But also just the cubic system, out of all of these different systems, was coming up as important, and isometrics, equal length and right angles. Also histamine came up, and it was interesting, the coding for histamine, which is N pi H and NTH, and I know that they have meanings, you know, for the elements, but I always am referring back to pi and T for different reasons altogether. So it's always interesting to me when pi and T come up together, because for me it's an ongoing code. And also mast cells came up, and mast is all about support. So maybe you need some histamine support. But if any of these things come up for you in any specific reason, please comment below, you know, to enlighten us, please. But it's not about definitions. I'm not looking for definitions, okay? But your downloads, things that you've received in relation to these things. So on the 22nd for the Divine Masculine, 2 knights came up, but it was also about the Queen of Wands with 2 knights. So I was seeing a Karmic with 2 men, or possibly just 3 kids, okay? A Karmic with 3 kids. So it doesn't have to be that the Karmic is cheating or something like that. But I was definitely getting, there is a scenario for some where the Karmic has 2 men. Whether they're cheating or not is not the point. That they're getting energy from 2 people, whether it's one is the Divine Masculine and then somebody else. So somebody else may be pursuing them, but doesn't mean that they're having an affair. But definitely getting that energy. 10-10 was coming up, and 7s were coming up again, as well as 24, which is the Queen of Wands energy. I was getting, in the coding for the Divine Masculine, again, 3 was coming up. That the Emperor is very good, but the Empress, Sag, I was getting, so Sagittarius energy was coming up here, lacks abundance, you are. So whether it was in reference to the Karmic or the Divine Feminine, I don't know, but that was the message coming up for the Emperor. Also, in a chapter 10 came up from SOTR, a breakthrough for Meridian's true key, QI, and then sovereign, and part of that said sovereign of the 3 realms, chapter 10. So 3 kept coming up, 3 realms, and then it broke down even further as he became much more adept in controlling the 3 meridians, key, QI. Okay, so if that brings up anything for you, let me know. Also on the 22nd, whistleblower was coming up, and that the Queen of Wands was out spending his money, or just spending money in general. Like, and it's not that she's not spending money on him too, it's that she's just spending a lot of money. And some of them it could be on purpose, to spend his money because she's mad at him, or just that she has a problem with spending money. Okay. And then the movie I watched that night was Nappily Ever After, which is all about just being your true self. You know, kind of like when my daughter cut all her hair off, you know, to just challenge herself to be who she really is without, you know, the adornments. And that someone should accept you just the way you are, no matter what. Okay. And also in that movie, she finally quits her job, you know, after putting up with all the crap and being artificial, to do something that was much more in alignment for her, which is a good sign, and Spirit's connecting with me. On the 23rd, yesterday, 555 was coming up, as well as the day was the Three of Cups and the King of Wands energy, and I did a great, you know, I'm created by Indigo. You should listen to her meditations. They've been connecting for me really well lately. So some stuff came up around that, and toroidals and things like that. But also I was guided to a website, innateexperience.net, which relates the toroidal to the shark lateral line. Okay, because the shark, you know, has special receptor organ that feels the water in motion and the electromagnetic field of the other fish in the water. And this line in the shark is derived from epithelial hair. So, you know, this is like our intuition. It's just paralleling the two. And then also pointing out that the physical center of gravity in the human is an inch or two below the belly button and in. So if that's the center of gravity, that's your sacral, your creative energy. That's the center of your gravity. So if you're not in your creativity, you're not centered. And then justice was coming up for the Divine Feminine yesterday, as well as 86ing, 17, 86, 89, 24, 31, and justice came up. And that was all about kids too for the Divine Feminine yesterday. It was two pages in a night. So definitely, if not kids, being in an immature energy. But Knight of Wands was up, so being more active. And it was actually time, it was coming up as a time out for the Divine Feminine, to persevere, but take time out. If you need a rest, take a rest. And the message was, and that shaman energy keeps coming up too, for the Divine Feminine to use shaman energy, or maybe connect with a shaman if you need it. It's all about the earth energy in transmuting bad spirits, because they were coming up this weekend a lot. Bad spirit of thoughts, especially. Letting your thoughts get to you. And about 86ing them. Alright, so making them no longer available on the menu. I love that. And to stop guarding your wounds. Alright, so this energy of that too, of lovers stopping that, you know, guarding their wounds. No longer needing to do that, be defensive or being guarded. And to actually just use their shark intuition, right? Their psychic abilities. So in this sense, it's showing that shark doesn't necessarily have to be a shark or a negative thing. It could be related to using your intuitive abilities, because that's what the shark does. Also for the Divine Feminine, I was getting from the Divine Masculine, referring to the Divine Feminine as the apple of his eye, and also you are the sunshine of my life was coming up. But again, like I said, very strong shaman energy. So using the earth to ground yourself. Also teepees were coming up yesterday, as well as the Achilles heel, that the right heel for the masculine was the Achilles heel. His Divine Feminine is his Achilles heel. his vulnerability. Or actually could be the karmic energy being that Achilles heel as well, on it being on the right side. That at work, maybe there's a karmic who's his Achilles heel. All right, he's making him weak in that department. Also, it was coming up because for the Divine Feminine, the Divine Masculine's worried that all the psychic stuff will destroy his career if he comes together with the Divine Feminine in a love partnership. I was also getting that the Divine Masculine is inspired to come together at this full moon, but it's only feeling like they've, don't have two legs to stand on. I was getting Tower at Trinity, literally. I was also getting, in reference to teepees, it's in one of my cards, the teepee, but I always see it as an inverted funnel. But the funnel was coming up yesterday as making sure to filter out toxins. All right, it's like transmuting, but filter out toxins from things as well, like tea, drink teas to detox yourself. That was definitely coming up as important this weekend. Okay, to make sure that you're peeing a lot as well. So making sure you're drinking enough water. So of course tea is going to make you pee even more, but not to be heavy on the caffeine, okay? And again, this is where the sudden peace and love those energies will come back to you using the dolphin sounds, okay? Also, justice rings came up. And this has to do with detoxing and grounding her inner child truths for the Divine Feminine at home. Okay. So you might have been inspired to go do something more physical yesterday. And it was interesting too. I've been thinking about moving for a while now, and I've been out and looked at some different places over the past year or so. But I just haven't found what I wanted, and I always thought if I moved that I wanted new construction. And of course the only new construction that I like in my area is of course right where my twin is. And when I initially looked at that new build, which was brand new at the time, I only wanted the one lot because of the number and the location. And of course that was sold already. So actually after that I wasn't guided to that area. So at this point I kind of was revisiting that. So I went up again because they didn't have any models up at that time, and I didn't know what the area would look like or feel like. So I kind of wanted to go back up there today or yesterday to see what it felt like, because I wasn't sure if I really liked the neighborhood there and how the energy would feel for me. So it was good that I went up there yesterday to feel it out again, because I wasn't resonating with it. But it was interesting because in the read today it comes up like possibly the Queen of Wands karmic energy saw me when I was there yesterday. So I'm just kind of curious about that, but I'll bring that up when I get into the read more fully. Also, what came up yesterday was something for the Divine Masculine coding, EIG values and vectors. So again, for those of you math science people, of a 5x5 magic square matrix, which I know nothing about that stuff. It was from mathworks.com. A equals magic 5, but the coding had to do with 5A, EIG, and had to do with the ascension to the ith and the vibration of it. Okay, so if you're connecting this to anything that would make more sense to me, please let me know. I was getting the A5 again, having to do with the EIG values, the eigenvalues and vectors. Also, rebirth was coming up for the Divine Masculine and flirt yesterday. He was coming up as the Knight of Cups. offering love to someone outside his group, holding back thoughts, taking risk, that telling about downloads that he receives, or he's not telling about downloads he's been receiving, hiding his sadness and regret. The Knight of Wands is out and about, as the Queen of Wands is defensive and guarded but patient. He's up for some kind of game or fight going on yesterday. Feeling finally released from a mental prison. Maybe he's just getting out of the house. Maybe if the Divine Masculine has kids and that kind of stuff, he was just getting out to go, do whatever sports he does. Or a fight literally could have come up yesterday. As the Divine Masculine is dumping all of his emotions into one cup, to, kind of get everything out. It's like kind of the same detox the Divine Feminine is being guided to go through. Angels purging and taking risks. And Divine Masculine was being guided to flirt. Also, kids were coming up as being surprised, or maybe they are surprising the Divine Masculine about jealousy of a romantic tie as he takes a leap of faith in rebirth. A Queen of Pentacles is out, possible at parties. Exposure to multiple stings and lasers from the King of Swords. Okay, and this is about, so there may be some, if your Divine Masculine comes to you and confesses, some of it may be very stinging. Okay, but it was about him dropping the burdens, not something new, but it being stinging. Okay. He's feeling the Divine Feminine messages, and by exposure he was able to dump his burdens. He's happy to, the Divine Masculine may be feeling the Divine Feminine being more physical now, out and about, and happy about that, about less burdens. Rising above to get moving, the King of Swords reverse, so still someone not in their truth, or just out of source, may have come out to their family about the Queen of Pentacles or the Divine Feminine. Okay, so it could be, I was getting, not specifically a spouse, I was getting more like as well today, a mother energy and a child energy. So the King of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles taking a risk to pass on these downloads that they're getting and purging to find peace, while the Karmic gets attention or possibly sees you out and about. That's fine, I didn't even realize I wrote that. The Emperor exposes the truth about an angel and flirting. Centrally for the Divine Masculine yesterday, there's two kings coming up, King of Pentacles and King of Cups, who possibly are ganging up on the Knight of Pentacles, who's offering less contribution. So again, this was going back to that Three of Pentacles idea, where the Knight of Pentacles isn't going to be as experienced or have as much money as the two kings. And they're kind of ganging up on them. So obviously this threesome isn't going to work, because they're not respecting the contribution of the Knight of Pentacles, who does all the work. Okay, so feeling weak due to the 5D world and the harsh truth of it is the Divine Masculine. He's challenged about getting closure with the Devil in prison, bleeding out after holding on to a Queen of Cups reversed, who could be a very manipulative person or just a very sad person. I mean, Queen of Cups, there's death energy around this, so I don't know if someone had passed away or was just an end to a relationship, and it could be something from the Divine Masculine's past as well. It's something happened due to poor judgment. So now in the head and heart, the vibration of the Divine Masculine is increasing as he's going through a portal. Imbalanced, happy family, and it was coming up with no sex, unsatisfied. Like there's a devil energy in the relationship who's withholding sex in order to stay balanced. So it could actually be the Divine Masculine as well, withholding sex to maintain his balance as a King of Swords and be logical. The King of Swords in the 5D, while the partner is silent, so I was getting a business relationship here too. A silent partner, someone might have gone to prison. It could be a mental prison as well, but literally somebody, a silent partner was coming up, has gone to prison, while he's now comforted by the end of or betrayal of Aquarius in order to have reunion with his Divine Feminine, who has the keys to his happiness. Soon for the Divine Masculine, he works after it's been slow to get information to enough anyway to satisfy him. He is the Tower energy yesterday. After the Queen of Pentacles reversed, as someone who's ungrounded, offered love, which ungrounded her and destabilized her, not knowing that the worst is now over. The Divine Masculine was being called to stay optimistic and stay positive, and the new love card came up. And also, someone may have caught someone else kissing someone else and walked away from the relationship. So someone was caught by surprise kissing someone else. So whether it's the Karmic or the Divine Masculine or whoever's in the relationship, somebody was caught kissing someone else. It could even be a Divine Masculine and Feminine together, where someone's caught kissing someone else. All right, so around the Divine Masculine, and he could be moving as well. Around him, the Divine Feminine may be having anxiety about being patient, and the Divine Masculine needs to clear blocks possibly about driving. If they've been in accidents before, that was definitely coming up as the Chariot, as well as just blocks of ascending and moving boldly and quickly and being strong about moving forward. Sudden truths in boldly moving forward for the Divine Masculine. But again, like I said, there may have been car accidents that caused him to have insecurities about driving. And this could be from past lives as well. It could have to do with chariots, literally. Avoiding the King of Wands, who I often see as kind of watching over him or getting on his case. It could be a father figure as well. I got individuality and surrender for the Divine Masculine, and then independent without option. And it could have been a very difficult divorce or break in a contractual commitment, but I was definitely getting Aquarius energy coming up, and also pressure from the Divine Feminine possibly, and also family knowing about twin now. The Divine Feminine running from some dark energy, okay, and it could even be Capricorn, it could be her Divine Masculine, whose family keeps him in a dungeon without light, without attention, and he's feeling sad without faith at the moment. And this was yesterday. So in sadness yesterday, I was also getting risking it all. For truth to be exposed with sudden anxiety of the Divine Feminine, strong in a world, while he works to ascend through a portal in order to leave family and a family business, or burdens. Taking risk for the Divine Feminine transformation, the truth is that the Karmic, which is very fiery energy coming up, I was getting Sag and Leo, is out, done, closed. Sudden event at work for family secret, hiding from a car accident with family, or avoiding intimacy so they can't get hurt for the Divine Masculine. And there may have been a death recently, or maybe a sudden death involved at work. Okay? It may be surrounding a truth. And it may just be, an unrelated sudden death at work. It could be somebody who works with them. But that was just general energies coming up. Also, 555 came up. 3 Kings came up yesterday. And again, this comes up a lot in the Divine Masculine's life. He may be included in the 3 Kings, or may have 3 Kings around him. I watched the movie The Endless, which is about a cult. which turns out to just be these people who are caught up with God in repeating loops until they learn their lesson. It was actually pretty cool. I was pleased that it wasn't going into a cult, like a real, intense cult-like situation. But it was all about getting caught up in repeat loops, okay, and not learning your lesson. Attachments to things. As soon as you, and this is what we call the shifts, when we feel shifts. As soon as you let go of something that you haven't been able to let go of, that you do all the time, you feel the shift. And this was exactly what this movie was about. Again, it was called The Endless, if you're interested. And in the movie, there were 3 moons. There were 2 moons. And really, it was about shifting from one dimension to another. You literally see them get lost in these loops because they go into different dimensions and then get lost because they don't know where they are. But they go from 2 moons to 3 moons, which would be the ascension, which the outside world will see as that mass suicide. So it's kind of a cool parallel. 88 came up for the Divine Masculine as well yesterday. And also Death of a Salesman came up again for the Divine Masculine. Oh, and also something that came up for the Divine Masculine last night was the Divine Masculine finally getting it, being able to see his worth, his light, without actually getting attention all the time or needing attention. So that was a big thing. And also Tower energy, again for the Divine Masculine last night. And Moon and Temperance. Temperance has been coming up for both all the time because it's all about patience and moderation. Also, I'm going to tell you about the sand art because that was significant. Actually, my sand art triggered me last night. And it triggered me into a purge, basically, last night. This was between 11 and 12 last night. But while I was upset, I literally felt pressure being applied to my left solar plexus. And then I felt my being comforted. I was being held by my left arm for comfort. But it was very specific. The pressure wasn't just a second, a fleeting second. It was there for a bit. And I felt the energy. Whenever I feel things like this now, I always reach my hand over to feel the energy, and I definitely felt the energy there. So, and as soon as, usually if I catch my Divine Masculine there comforting me, like that, and I touch the energy, his energy comes in throughout my whole body, realizing that my energy is now touching his. So that's confirmation as well. And also realize, though, for you Divine Feminines, that your Divine Masculine, you're connecting with his higher self, so he may not always be aware of these things, especially if he's being stressed out. In the sand art that triggered me last night, and I have to add that I saw it in a totally different way last night than I did this morning when I went to write down my notes about it. What was triggering me is the scene that it starts out with is, again, 2 brides walking down to their masculines. And it's so cool how this keeps coming back. And the masculines keep coming back, being shown in the same way. It's like showing the back of their spine and the muscles coming out from the spine. But how it keeps repeating this is pretty cool. But what triggered me is it's all about one bride being in a totally superficial wedding and having the biggest and best of everything, and the other one just a more humble, beautiful wedding, but not like extravagant. And the differences between them. So you can see this as the Divine Feminine and the Karmic with the Divine Masculine, or you can see it on 2 different timelines, or you can see it as 2 people getting married at the same time together. So there's different perspectives depending on what your situation is. But what bothered me is seeing the Divine Masculine being taken by the superficial life, okay, and not feeling like that's enough, that the simplicity of the Divine Feminine is enough for him wanting to live this appearances type of life, which that's what triggered me, okay. But when I read it this morning, it was very cool because it was a very different perspective. So I'm going to read to you what I wrote. So 2 brides walking down the aisle possibly two timelines, and like I said, one could be the karmic and one could be the divine feminine, or they could be two couples going down at the same time. One ostentatious with a darker aisle, like there was literally darker energy on the more ostentatious side, and one simple and beautiful but smaller wedding. The divine masculine in the smaller wedding is aware of the one next to him, and that what he's offered to the divine feminine could be more. The brides look at each other, as do the grooms, but the larger groom, we're going to say the right is the ostentatious wedding and the left is the more simple wedding, okay? Just to make it easier in describing who's who, okay? So the brides look at each other, as do the grooms, but the right groom, or the larger groom, pretends that he didn't really look over, okay? Because he doesn't want to be seen as looking at what the other people have, because he's got it all, right? The brides look at each other face on, though. They don't give a crap. All right, so the smaller, or the left bride, continues down the aisle as the bigger one puts her head down in shame and fracturing at that moment. Her light body fractures in 3 ways, and then 2 more offshoot from the separate 3 fractures. From there, and so on and so on. The large divine masculine is thinking, what? Like, what's going on? Okay. As the aisle becomes a pool of tears in the ostentatious right wedding, as the bride shrinks to half of her size into a dark space, with her thoughts extending to the groom and taking over, the smaller, which is now bigger bride, she stops to look and is sad for this bride on the right. Okay? So what happens is the bride on the right now becomes in her masculine. She becomes the masculine, takes over going down the aisle, extends her hands up in the air and says, "Score," as she kneels down on her knees, okay? So this is like a big masculine energy. Touchdown. So she's on her knees as the skies begin to crumble above. The left bride can't believe her eyes, and she fractures in 7 ways as she merges into her divine masculine, winged, okay? So they come together in their wings. For the right couple, a huge fight ensues at the altar as you see wings flapping everywhere and others pulled in to break them up, but instead get taken down into a rush of emotion. Someone being held down by 2 men. And this is the divine feminine, but she's in her masculine. She's like huger than the masculine. So she's, you know, she's outshining the masculine in the masculine, which of course is going to make the masculine feel terrible. So she's being held down now by 2 men. As the etheric left divine feminine looks back again, as a child jumps on one of the men thinking they're hurting their parent, or jumping on the bandwagon. They finally get her off of him, so the divine masculine, can stretch his wings. So the left couple is now on vacation in the falls, okay? And the right masculine divine feminine, or the right masculine feminine on the left, or the karmic energy, is left at the altar forever under covers as the other couple grows in prosperity in a prosperous environment. The bride on the right is still in bed with her stash, right? So she might have stolen or collected or, you know, kept some stuff under covers to make sure she had security. That's those root issues of the Queen of Wands. As the left bride looks back at her to see if she needs help. But she then eats her alive, okay? So then after that, every now and then, the left bride, what did I write there? No, every now and then the left bride still comes back to check in on the right bride, but she never changes. One last look, and the divine feminine on the left is just gone. She's not going to try to help anymore. And the bride on the right is alone with her stuff. Okay, so this was very significant. There's a lot of details that came up in that scenario, huh? Okay, so then we get to today. Today is the Queen of Wands and the Four of Cups, like we talked about already. And like I said, the 2 nights come up from today, which is the 26th to the 27th, Wednesday to Thursday. So after having a bit of a purge last night and not being able to get to sleep right away afterward, going to bed too late again because of that, I did wake up initially this morning, was able to go back to sleep, so I didn't get up till late this morning. So I went to bed last night and I really needed my sleep because I hadn't slept for a few nights. And with the full moon. So I made sure when I got up today to go outside and put my feet in the grass for sure. So something that was significant that was coming up, I've been trying to grow the jacaranda trees, which don't really grow in the cold climate, so it's tough to get one significant enough to establish it here. And I have a tree in my garden who's actually gotten pretty significant, but was all of a sudden slumped over yesterday and today. Because I need to move him, okay? I need to move him to a safer place for stability and growth. So it was referring to the Divine Masculine, okay? He needs to move himself to a safer and more stable place where there's more support, okay? So for the Divine Feminine this morning, which was at 11:50 to 52, around there, the major arcana were Indigo and Reflection, which is the Magician and the Hermit. There were 4 Wands, 3 Cups, and 2 Pentacles. So it's mostly wands. There were no swords at all, which was great. So Divine Feminine's out of her head today, which I did because I purged last night. So the court cards were the Queen of Wands with the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands. So here again is Queen of Wands energy, the karmic energy, with 2 suitors. It could also be 2 older kids. But it's in the Divine Feminine read, okay? So there could be another karmic friend in the Divine Feminine situation, or it could just be, yeah, a friend and 2 kids, or it could literally be a karmic energy who's having multiple suitors. So the coding had to do with music and parenting today. So this read was a lot about music and parenting. It was about mastering the Divine Feminine inside the Divine Masculine and her own passions at this full moon, because 18 was coming up. Are you and I, so your own passions, and it was showing me that you and I split are like Alice's, which was code for me, because Spirit knew I would understand what that meant. And that has everything to do with appearances, like in the sand art. Okay, so it was showing us that even the Divine Feminine becomes the karmic energy when she splits from herself. Okay, and it was all about coming up with the Alice having to do with someone who's all about appearances, about ladies at lunch who do lunch and drink. It was also about Alice, and that has to do with drug addicts and drinking. Okay, so it was asking the Divine Feminine to make sure to master her heart inside her Divine Masculine always, to keep that higher self connection, because your higher self is your Divine Masculine. Okay, to maintain that connection, your own passion, your own fire, your third energy at the full moon. And remember that you are the full moon, you're the Divine Feminine, you are the moon, the feminine energies, the reflection. Okay? So be careful what you reflect. Are you going to reflect Alice energy? Or are you going to reflect your masculine energy, your Divine Masculine, your higher self? So that's part of the mastery, okay? And again, Alice totally hung up on appearances, and also the movie about her being a drug addict, and ladies at lunch who drink and gossip. Okay? So don't be that. And also it was tying these things back to music and parenting. So when women who aren't working are just home hanging out with the kids and listening to music, they're bored, or they become bored, and they're more apt to do these things like ladies at lunch who drink, okay, or do drugs or gossip. Okay? You know, the devil's hands. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. So that applies to the divine feminine as well. Okay? So if she's too much in her hermit mode, she can come into that place and detach, okay, and go into a purge. So again, just summarizing that even the divine feminine is the karmic energy when she is separated from self. Use your music and children to reconnect yourself, okay, to get into that positive energy, that higher vibration. Also, the codes that came up. So because Alice was part of the coding that I put in, Alice in Chains came up, which is a group. I'm not familiar with them, but that was what came up in the header, as well as their album, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. Okay? And it was posted on 2/13/13, which adds up to 21, which is the world, and it was released on 5/28/13, which adds up to 39. So just letting you know, in case any of that stuff resonates with you, is also came out as number 200 on the charts. Alice in Chains and The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. And something else that came up was, again, download Maroon 5, Wake Up Call Right Now. That just came out the other day from a totally different code, okay? Also, Manhattan Greenway Master Plan Conduit. Manhattan Greenway Master Plan Conduit. And Southern Queens came up, okay, which is, you know, like south, kind of like going to Tahiti or something, you know. So it was kind of like a negative connotation of the southern, or, you know, karmic queens. Okay, so be careful also about karmic master plans. And you have to use your intuition when people approach you about things. Are they approaching you with the right intent? Okay. And also the towns that were coming up with this Manhattan Greenway thing were Springfield, Idle, Wild, Brookville, Park, and Loop, and then Loops. And number 23 came up, which is the King of Wands, who is looping with the Queen of Wands. Okay. Also, 7 more op amps came up. The number 7 more op amps. And then also something came up from Robert Palawa Podgorski, and it was from ECE Illinois EDU. It was an article, Integrated 2-Stage Power Converter with Soft Charging Switched Capacitor. Operation in 180 nm, and then capital the acronym CMOS. And then it said IEEE. Okay, so it's telling the divine masculine or divine feminine who you are, to be who you are, and know who you are. And then European Solid State Circuits Conference, that's what it was. And Helsinki comes up as well as in Finland in 2011. But what came up in this article, because I peeked in, it was from New England. Was this separate? I went into a New England Journal of Medicine article. That referenced, the New England Journal of Medicine article had 38 references, 466 sightings. The number of subjects was 448850, with 118777 deaths, and it was 18-year follow-up from 1977 to 2000. There were 58,775 cardiopulmonary causes of death, but the amount of them that were just cardiovascular were 48884. Okay? And also green nails came up. So I was guided to bring up the green nails. And if you have green nails, you need to see somebody. Okay? So for the read, the twin flame, the shaman comes up again. So the shaman energy was coming up all week for the divine masculine, especially how shamanistic they are. Okay? It was showing that the twin flame shaman is coming out. The divine masculine energy is coming out after being a prisoner of their own sex. Oh, that was a slip. All right, so their own success, but sex came out. A prisoner of their own success and attention, and leading the way for everyone else. Overwhelmed by maintaining the sham fam appearances at get-togethers with a possible Wiccan friend was coming up. Obviously, that's not for most people. That's a specific message. Okay, and again, coven energy was coming up in the read again today. So obviously that's not for everyone. It's a specific message for a few. Okay, so again, the divine masculine is coming out. His shaman side is coming out now. He's feeling more free to let that part of him out. After feeling like he was a prisoner of his own success and attention and leading the way for everyone else, overwhelmed by maintaining this sham fam appearance at get-togethers with this possible Wiccan friend. After grounding and integrating, the Knight of Cups is putting the brakes on before he gets too old to enjoy, and this was just a joke for me because I like ice cream and nuts, the nuts and ice cream. So, in the perspective of him wanting to enjoy time with his divine feminine and his abundance, just sitting relaxing under a tree like the Empress. So after a karmic party, and this is for the divine feminine, and it's the divine feminine's read, but there's a lot of divine masculine energies coming up in it. After a karmic party, the divine feminine may have fell into herself a bit, like I did last night, but put the brakes on to come back to her abundance right away. Aligning with the truth may knock you for a loop in the aftermath cleanup of resisting change, and now studying energy with opportunities and invitations, or possibly a child who is learning and researching. Both mothers and children are being shown under trees after fruitful social occasions. So it's saying after parties, aligning with the truth, new clarity, or after big changes, to sit under or against trees, to restore your energy back to balance and to teach your children this. Just like twins, back to back, to align energies, sit back to back with trees. Mothers teach your children. And the divine feminine got stay optimistic as well about your love life. Positive thinking and faith bring romance. The King of Wands is out and about at parties and detoxing imbalances, as the Knight of Cups manifests two lovers. Okay, and usually you might see this as the divine masculine, and there's actually a stream of light coming out from the camera light, so I don't usually see that. And it was just 10303. So I usually see this as the masculine with two lovers, right? But in this specific situation, I was seeing it could be the divine feminine or the karmic. So either the karmic gets caught cheating or has attention from somebody else, or the divine feminine has attention from someone else other than the divine masculine as well. And of course, it could be some divine masculines still being seen, because they are. If they're in another karmic situation, then they do have two lovers because they're connected to their divine feminine in the 5-date. This is the divine feminine in karmic energy drawing in attention from two knights, one practical and one passionate, while the divine masculine wonders how to whisk off with the divine feminine without becoming a third-party situation, like him being seen that way. And the divine feminine got perseverance, not to give up. The Lovers is on the mind of the Queen of Swords, right, in her mourning type energy, right? After detoxing and healing exposure to karmic energies, so once you've been out in karmic energies, you need to clear yourself, but also past manipulative energies of the twin. There is full exposure and manifestation of the twin flames. After the magician either is not getting along at work or just having dealt with a third party through work, with little faith of union after paying out or other inequities that the divine masculine is dealing with, the magician or indigo twin is fully exposed to mother and kids. So it could be his mother and kids, or it could be his karmic and kids, whatever. It was a mother energy coming up. But it was coming as his mother specifically, but it's going to apply to different situations. all positive energies, except that some divine masculines are being seen as having two women, right? Because they are connected too. Foundation is the E-Tower, or the divine feminine's heart. After recovering in a practical way, the divine feminine getting physically busy again, and the Queen of Wands reversed, tired of bringing the Queen of Wands reversed, or that karmic energy, either really tired or pissed, tired of bringing kids back and forth, or angry seeing the divine feminine finding peace, allowing others into her heart and her home. The Queen of and it's funny because this specific situation is what I brought up about possibly the karmic seeing me looking at houses yesterday. So then it made me wonder, did she buy a house there? I don't know. Or it could have just been out, driving up in that area. So for some, could be 2 adults and 3 kids coming to visit the divine feminine. Or they could just be 5 adults. They could be grandparents and 3 grown adults, okay? Or karmic energy wanting to make peace with the divine feminine, but with impure intentions. Centrally, divine feminine is purging due to separation after betrayal, endings, and or lower back pain, finding sovereignty with family, but lacking inspiration. Kids and tantrums, possibly, or a possible sexual frustration, while transmuting the past, okay, under these very strong full moon energies. The divine feminine's challenged in opening her heart more fully, all right, so we're cracking open, heart expansion, to the present moment after detox from the King of Swords reversed, being exposed. So obviously some of the divine masculines are exposed in any way over the past. That might have made them upset. It might have caused them to go silent or have harsh words, or just showing them not being in their truth. So some of these divine masculines are being shown as this King of Swords reversed, exposed, caught with their pants down, or forced to confess about the angels and guides that they're dealing with, and being patient about it all. Now in the head and heart of the divine feminine, she's looking for messages, impossible backlash of battling lovers wanting to know more, with the Hermit coming out, shedding light on ex-lovers, and the King of Wands reversed, feeling attacked. All right, so the King of Wands reversed is also going to be very angry energy, or it could also be the divine masculine exhausted, or it could be somebody else really exhausted. Okay, so the Hermit coming out, shedding light on ex-lovers, no matter whose ex-lovers they are, and the King of Wands reversed, so this is aggressive energy, feeling attacked, angry and vulnerable, walking away after separation of commitment, or just energy of spirituality and going within. The divine feminine is being silenced by, has been silenced by the divine masculine, exposed as she allows it to burn away. So this is being exposed. The fact that the divine feminine was basically silenced by her divine masculine. This is exposed. And exposure has been coming out all week. Everything is being exposed. But she's allowing it all to burn away in transmutation, so allowing the past to burn. Confronting him, or not confronting, but comforting him and loving him despite his heartstrings being manipulated to be his usual angel self, but turning his back on himself, refusing to see the truth of the situation, of his own self-worth. Soon, the King of Pentacles, or the King of Pentacles finds satisfaction, patching things up around the house. So a lot of the masculines will be fixing things around the house, but also using finances to fix things and work on himself. Spending time alone after constantly being in the limelight, protecting himself from the truth. The divine feminine is in karmic energies, after having been patient, getting real, finding some sore spots to dump, within her, and finding inspiration and aligning her work to that inspiration or passion. The divine feminine got worth waiting for and honeymoon, which is bringing the relationship to a higher level. The guides showing the twins, the guides are, they're guiding the twins in the right direction to come together. And when I wrote this stuff down right here, a very loud plane flew overhead, very close. After the around the Divine Feminine is the Knight of Pentacles, up knights, thinking about an offer to present to compensate for weakness, or to pay off a negative or weak Leo. This may even be a karmic with ill intention offering something to knock the Divine Feminine off your game. Clear your blocks about being physically inspired. After called to rescue others that are in lack mentality, refusing to see their own overindulgences of drinking, gossip, overspending, and third-party situations. Right? So for the Divine Feminine, you know, are you being the pot calling the kettle black? Make sure that you're not judging others when you're actually doing the same sort of thing. In other words, don't allow others' thoughts and behaviors to paralyze you. Time to dance and play with your children. So very important for the Divine Feminine. The energies that are coming up here are that there's full moon romance. Wine, lobster, and violins were coming up, and an olive branch. Sham fam of the King of Cups, protecting themselves from the truth after the Divine Masculine's insecurities and negative self-talk of the Divine Feminine, and or silent treatment or negative words regarding the twin and the truth, and tripping up and or dropping the facade of the perfect, giving, charitable family, where everyone is hung up on how they look, whether or not they actually are that way. Lightning strikes the tip of the iceberg of the Emperor and the King of Cups domain, with epiphanies about separation from self and family, that they aren't breaking his heart, but he continues to break his own heart, now fully exposing the unconditional love that he feels. The twins are in the Divine Feminine's heart and home, invaded by karmic energies and offers to manifest. If the heart is shut down, the Divine Feminine may not see the opportunity here to open the heart more fully to self and her own passions, while waiting for the other message to come regarding family and heartbreak of the Divine Masculine. Twins manifest through their own guidance. The Divine Feminine's heart must stay open in order to see the guidance. The karmic energies come up when the Divine Feminine is alone, regarding family rejection and heartbreak, in order to transmute. Moving forward in a practical and physical way to find your own family happiness is when the epiphanies come. By controlling your perspective in order to purify your energy, love, and expression of feelings. Okay? So don't be so distracted by what's going on with your Divine Masculine that you fail to address your own passions and connect with your own self and not detach with your own self. Controlling your perspective. It's the only thing you should be controlling is the way you see things, okay, to stay in your more positive perspective. In order to purify your energy, keep it pure, stay in your unconditional love, which we will always be somewhat conditional because we're human, okay? But to express your feelings, and I want to bring this up again, more importantly, to be authentic than kind, okay? Sometimes loving yourself means not being kind to someone, and that's okay. The universe is always going to have your back if you're authentic to you. If you're not standing up for yourself, the universe isn't going to have your back, okay? And right at the moment when I ended this, a car whizzed by again really fast. So I've noted that several times today. That was the second time I had noted that a car whizzed by fast, not to mention that a plane was really close overhead. Now I'm going to do the oracle cards, okay? So we have the Ascension deck, and it's 1, 14, 14. 14 is Temperance. Okay. Everybody take a deep breath. Alright. For the true organic twins, clear and align. What is the advice for the true twins? Today is September 24th, 2018. What is the advice? We got Sirius and Veils of Illusion and Air. And Commander Ashtar's at the bottom. Commander Ashtar's number 39, which is the Knight of Cups, and it says, Affirmation, I connect with Commander Ashtar to serve the universe. So, and that urges you to connect more galactically, okay? So the first card that came up is Sirius, which is number 17. Second card is Veils of Illusion, number 25. So 17 is the Star, 25 is the Knight of Wands, and the third card that came up is Air, which is number 12. Okay, and 12 is the Hangman. It's also about wisdom. So 17, Sirius, says, the star system Sirius holds 12 of the universal keys to enlightenment and ascension. When you access and comprehend them, you become a master of the universe. This card invites you to visit the training schools and universities of Sirius in your sleep in order to develop your higher mind, access the spiritual laws of alchemy and magic, understand sacred geometry, and tune into angel sonics and higher dimensions. This is an opportunity to learn through the inner planes about spiritual technology and bring it forward to the new golden age. The affirmation is, I am open to the higher wisdom of Sirius. Okay? Veils of Illusion, number 25, or the Knight of Wands energy. When we incarnate, we go through the veil of amnesia and the 7 veils of illusion, who we truly are. When you dissolve these veils, you become fully enlightened. To do this, you're called on to take mastery, believe in the spiritual world, practice unconditional love, honor animals and the nature kingdom, walk with masters and angels, see that all is connected, and finally live as an enlightened being. You're invited to ask the unicorns to work with you to remove your veils of illusion so that you can become an enlightened master. And the affirmation is, I am one with everything. Okay? So just a reminder that you affect everyone, and then that in turn affects you. Okay? So it's about loving yourself first, so that you raise your vibration, which then ripples out to everyone else, but not to leave others out in your good intentions, all right? Because it all affects you in return, because we're all one. Okay, so Sirius, Air, and Veils of Illusion. So it's giving me a headache. So it's all about, with air, it's all about swords energy and thoughts, which all have to do with the veils of illusions, right? Because the brain is human. And to connect with Sirius, to learn to have more control over that. Okay. And be more in your love, which is Commander Ashtar 39. Alright, so for the past life deck, here. Take a deep breath. Alright, what is the advice of the true twins today? Okay, come right out. Finances, and also this one wants to come out, Asia. The bottom of the deck is ships. Your ship has sailed. I just got that. Oh, that's weird too. In the cards earlier, I was seeing just the top of the Knight of Cups. Who is the Knight of Cups energy? Who has a mask on, and it has like the vents in the mask. But this was taking me back to that mask. The sails of the ship. Are protection mechanisms. That allow the ship to redirect. So it's putting on the armor allows you time, to transmute your thoughts and make a different game plan. But that's the energy that I'm getting from that. The cards that came out are finances and Asia. I'm getting this one a lot lately. Okay. So it's all about being more stern and confident and protecting yourself with your confidence, though, not with armor. Because when you're in a high vibration, you're, basically untouchable. So protect yourself with your confidence, with your solar plexus energy, with your Christ light, the golden light. And then naturally the finances will flow. I'm getting Italian coins also. Something about Italian coins. It could just be European, but the first thing that came to me was Italian money. And also we have the Oriental perspective on work and how rigid and structured they are. To kind of have that attitude right now. Maybe it's because of the harsh energies that are coming in. To just stay in your confidence and be stern. You don't need to be smiley with everyone. Because there may be some out there who are looking to take advantage of you. And it's better to do it on your own turf. And do it outside your home. Then if a karmic comes to your house, don't invite them in. Okay. Okay. So for the journey of love, and I'm not saying to put everyone out of your house, but if you're getting a negative energy from someone you don't know, like a karmic energy of your divine masculine, or another karmic energy who you don't know, don't just let anyone into your house because you're affecting your energies, okay? And they may have ill intent, okay? So this is for the true twins, for the journey of love. Everybody take a deep breath. Okay, we have the spaces between the words and legacy of lights at the bottom, which is 53, which is a catapult energy. Okay, legacy of light. 53 is the Knight of Swords, which is very much like a catapult. So something coming in quickly or going out quickly. The spaces between words is number 24. How perfect for the Queen of Wands today. Okay, that's the energy of the 24, Queen of Wands, which is a 6. It's very teal with kind of like skin colored beiges and browns. And a very green sand color, very light beige with greenish tones in it. I'm going to read you that one, number 24. All right. 24, the spaces between words. When we look for guidance, we often look for words that clarify, reassure, and help us find our authentic path through the chaos. Yet there's also guidance in the spaces between the words, between each letter, between all the happenings in our lives, where there's nothing to be said, where there are no lines to be colored in, where there's just openness. Those are the times when we need to freestyle. We need to do or not do based on what is happening for us right at the moment. Often there is far less to do than we think. Often we don't need to think. There's a space forming around you now. Sometimes when we sense this subconsciously, we feel exhilarated and excited, anxious and nervous, and not even sure why. There's a sense perhaps that we wouldn't mind having a map of this unknown terrain. Or perhaps we're happy to wing it and make it up as we go. Either way, there's space to just be. It is a receiver for the divine presence. If you have a lot of space of unknowing around you now or within you, then just know that there's a lot of divine presence to be received. It can't be explained really. It happens between the words, and yet without it, there wouldn't be any words or any guidance at all. This oracle speaks to you to enter the space and let go, for your time to receive is upon you. Be blessed. And the poem reads, when Spirit's connecting, day birth. The eastern rise of time, on newborn wings, bursts out across the lifeless crowd and sings its climb to heights unknown, of beauty, warmth, and power upon its throne, to fade again in western sky, and only for a moment lie, before it takes its course again to breathe once more in heart of man. Okay, so the birth of a new dawn. Climb to heights unknown. And also what comes up must come down, and vice versa. Okay, there's the cycle. Just allow life cycles to take you sometimes. Sometimes you don't need to do anything. We're so programmed to feel like if we're not doing something useful, then we're not worthy, okay? Which is just not the case. And I was getting time out. Not in the cards here, it was music and parenting, but time out was definitely coming up in last night's read. So if you need it, if you haven't gotten enough sleep, don't keep pushing and pushing and pushing with your work stuff. Take a break, okay? It's important. Allow yourself that time, okay? Make sure to drink enough water, especially with that P message coming up. To flush, okay? Make sure to take care of yourself and get as much rest as you can. And, you know, just make sure to protect yourself, your energies, and clear yourself in these full moon energies if you're going to be going out and doing anything fun. But certainly don't stop yourself from having fun, okay? So we're also being called to play. Rise and be loved, guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.